बोलो।
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, and this is Rasika Preeti Devi Dasi from the beautiful farms of ISKCON Nilachal Vedic Village. So, in today's video, we are going to discuss one of the questions that is asked a lot to me is homeschooling better, or shall we just regular school our kids, or am I doing wrong if I'm regular schooling my kids? So, my answer is it is not that black and white, okay? It's not about good or bad or nice or better or something like that. So there are many ways, many reasons behind it. So we are going to discuss the pros and cons of either, both of them, and then you can decide for yourself. So this video might be in parts and you may have to wait for content up till a week, but please stay connected. So first of all, let's look at how many types of schoolings do we have available right now which are feasible. I'm just naming few very common ones. So one is regular schooling. You can choose a board, state board, CBSE, ICSE. This is for parents in India, and select a board that you want to enroll your child into and just enroll them into a regular school, and that's it, end of story. And you can have some spiritual practices at home to keep your child connected to spirituality and pay more attention to their spiritual growth. Next, there is an option of Gurukul, specifically for boys, where you can send your kids to Gurukul, let them study in a Gurukul under an Acharya, and then they can grow spiritually. And some Gurukuls even offer regular studies, the formal education, and that is also taken care of. The third option is homeschooling. That is where my area of expertise lies. Little bit, tinsy bit expertise, not that I'm an expert at it. I'm also learning as I'm raising my kids. So in my journey, I decided to homeschool because it was feasible for me. Like, I didn't want to regular school my children. That was just out of questions due to reasons like I'm not very inclined towards a formal degree as such. But after speaking to many parents who are homeschooling their kids, I also learned that if required, if my child would like to get a formal degree, there are provisions that can be done for him in the later stages. So that was like, even if there is a requirement, that was taken care of. So I wanted to homeschool my kids because I believe that I could make learning fun for them. Yeah. So that was my initial motivation. Also, I wasn't very fond of regular schooling for reasons such as in a class of 20, even if like at least there would be minimum of 20 students, and the teacher will not be able to pay personal attention and customize the entire syllabus for my one child. Okay, I'm sure there are great teachers in school and they do their best to pay attention to each and every kids. We have also grown in regular schools, but personally, this is a very personal opinion that I have, that every child has specific demands. A child may be interested in different subjects. Like my kid is more interested in reading as to learning his multiplication times table, or he would like maths only when if it is just mental maths, and he likes to do the calculations that way, but not into maths so much. Okay, so different children have different areas of interest, different areas of expertise. So based on that, in a school, they have to go through everything, which is good, no problem. But they have to also excel. There is peer pressure. There are other kids who are performing better, and if they score less, then there is so much of pressure on them. Why am I not coming first? Because that's the race that's happening in a regular school. Children are, there's so much of racing going on. So who comes first? So the more number of marks will determine success. Later on in life, that translates into the more number of figures in your salary, which will make you successful. Later on, it's the more number of rooms in your house, 2 BHK, 3 BHK, 4 BHK, 5 BHK, or 6 BHK, that way. Then the more number of houses, I have 2 bungalows here, or maybe 5 flats there, something like that. So we are teaching our children to associate happiness and success with numbers, whereas that's really not the case. It's only going to create frustrations. So that was my motivation. I wanted to give my child a very simple, minimal lifestyle, like absolutely minimum, very basic. So they learn to be happy with the minimum most things, simplest of things. nothing much, no much details, nothing more things are required in that, you know, no toys, no expensive clothes, no expensive schools, and no air conditioning, no luxurious facilities like that. So they learn to be happy doing, even like, you know, when there is fan that's running fine, it makes my children happy, because when there's no electricity, you know, so even a running fan can give you bliss. So that way, you know, that's the simplicity with which we live here on the farm, and that's what my kids are learning. So that was my motivation to homeschool my kids. So you can decide what is it that you really want, you know, how do you look, and try and understand your children as well. It is very important to understand our kids, what is their temperament, what kind of education system would suit them. For a person who is a sanguine, a child who is very social and who loves to associate with people, it would be nice idea to have a school, or at least a group school for them, you know, so that they associate with different kids, peers, and that way they learn better. Some kids are more of a loner, they like to be alone, left alone, so homeschooling works even better for them. So you have to understand your resources, you have to understand your children, and then take these decisions. So now let me talk about some challenges that I face in homeschooling. So homeschooling for me, it is not difficult in terms of academics. I can study a subject and I can tell it to my kids. Okay, I can teach it as well. So, but this is a challenge for also many parents. You know, you may not be expert at all the subjects. You may not be expert in all the languages. So there is an overhead, you know, you need to give your children education, and so you will have to enroll them to different classes like maths tuitions, and then somebody to teach them science, somebody to teach them languages, different languages, musical instruments, drawing, painting, art and craft, because kids should be given everything. So you first analyze your own self. Will you be able to do at least 5 6 of this with your kids, if not all? Can you teach them maths properly? Can you teach them, see, elementary maths, the first, second, third grade is not going to be very difficult. It is always a piece of cake. You just need to teach your kids to count, to subtract, to multiply, to divide, you know. But when it gets a little complex, we don't need to teach them calculus and trigonometry unless it's their interest in mathematics and they would like to pursue something in engineering or in the field of mathematics. That is a different story. But on a regular basis, after addition, subtraction, the things that get a little complex, what I've seen with parents is fractions, calculating interest, and the speed, distance, time thing, you know. So these get a little complex for parents who are not so good with maths. So are you willing to learn? You have to take that extra effort to learn. Then the basics, general sciences, things about nutrition. So you have to, that is the first challenge. You have to train yourself. You have to learn. You have to study what you're going to teach. There are different ways to overcome this, okay? Nowadays information is very easily available. You can research, there are YouTube lessons that you can take and then teach it to children. But you know, don't fall for the comfort that instead of me learning and teaching it to my child, let me just show him or her this video, you know. So then the whole purpose is destroyed. Rather they go and study in a school. So if they sit and study, if they are looking at video and learning, then it's just spoiling the purpose. The shlokas, I've seen parents doing this, and that is why I'm bringing it up, that they just turn on a shloka video. Okay, this is the shloka, you by heart it. Okay, this is a math video, you learn it from there. This is a science video, you learn it. This is a history video, you learn it. No, that's not the homeschooling we are talking about over here, okay? A person, a teacher needs to teach, okay? So as a mother or as a father, you are going to be the teacher of your child. So that's the first challenge. Are you having enough information? Are you able to learn? Do you have the time? Do you have the willingness to do it? It takes effort, okay? So first analyze. This is the first question you need to answer. Second question, do you have the arrangement for homeschooling? Now when I speak of arrangement, there are a lot of things. So first, आपके बच्चे के siblings है क्या? Do your kids have siblings? Okay, that is the first question in the first sub question. So arrangement. If you have siblings and if the younger one is too small, is someone there who could take care of this younger child for 1 hour, 2 hour? That you can handle the elder one's proper studying time jo hota hai, when you're actually doing and studying a concept. And how are you going to balance your time? There are n number of work at home, cooking, cleaning, so many things are there. So do you have the help available for that? How are you going to manage it? Do you have the finances? Are you financially independent that one parent can stay at home? Because homeschooling is a full-time job. Homeschooling is not like regular schooling where your child goes to school and then comes. When you decide to homeschool, you can be actually schooling them even in the night, while sleeping. That's the whole purpose of it, that learning happens throughout. It's a lifestyle. Learning becomes a lifestyle and not something that is happening in school and coming back doing homework kind of a thing. Okay, so you need to plan, you need to be good at planning, you need to get yourself trained, decide a syllabus, and then plan your lessons, plan what you're going to do when. You have to have a fixed routine, because now this is the third challenge. Many people who homeschool, they tend to fall off into a routine that is very relaxed and nice, because school hota hai, so you wake up every morning, you go on a time, you have to reach school at 7 a.m. So आपका schedule अपने आप बन जाता है. You don't have to take extra effort to make that schedule. लेकिन जब आप होम स्कूलिंग करते हैं, ये स्केड्यूल आपको बनाना पड़ता है, और आप स्लैक नहीं कर सकते, एक दिन भी नहीं कर सकते कि चलता है, आज लेट उठते हो, कल जल्दी उठ जाएंगे. ये नहीं कर सकते हो आप, क्योंकि everything is dependent on you. You cannot just say, you cannot be lazy with the time or even irresponsible. There's no room for it. Okay, so you have to make sure, okay, once in a month if it is happening, once in 15 days, it's still okay. But have a rhythm that suits everybody. Okay, you don't have to wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning. That's not what I'm talking about. But if you have decided that you will wake up at 7, you have to wake up at 7 every day. If you decided you wake up at 6 o'clock, you have to wake up at 6 o'clock every day. That is what I'm talking about. You need to have a routine. Now, your routine may be, I'm going to talk about routine in another video, why routine is important and all that. But this is one important aspect that you need to be considerate and be very determined about. So if you think you are a kind of a person who, unless there is a motivation, like you have to go for a meeting, you have to go to work, you have to go to school, you won't be self-motivated to follow a routine. Think twice before deciding to homeschool. Okay, the fourth challenge that we face, it is the balancing the roles of a parent and a teacher. Okay, so when you're a parent teaching, so it's a different relation. And since we are not coming from a background of a homeschool, we were not homeschooled. If you were, then great. But if you weren't homeschooled, your idea of a teacher is like, when I'm teaching, my child should respect me. That was not going to happen, because your child will look at you as parent only. आप अपने बच्चे के लिए माँ या बाप ही रहोगे, आप उनके लिए सडनली टीचर नहीं बन जाओगे. ओके, मे बी सम एल्डर किड्स मे बी एबल टू फॉलो दिस, बट स्पेशली जब वो छोटे होते हैं ना, तो उनके लिए कोई फ़र्क नहीं होता है कि मैया पढ़ा रही है, मम्मा पढ़ा रही है, या पापा पढ़ा रहे हैं, या टीचर पढ़ा रही है. तो वो डिफ्रेंशिएट नहीं कर पाते हैं. तो डिसिप्लिन करना थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट हो जाता है. इट इज़ अ लिटिल चैलेंजिंग टू ब्रिंग देम टू स्टडी. दे विल कीप टॉकिंग, दे विल वांट टू डू इट इन अ क्लासरूम. व्हेन देयर इज अ exterior person, a teacher coming, they don't know the teacher. They have known you since your childhood. So to a teacher, they are naturally respectful, and then depending on the strictness of the teacher, they either gel with her or they just quietly follow her. So that's not going to be the case in homeschooling. So sometimes that's a challenge where your child will want to slack, they'll feel bored, and they can upfrontly tell you they'll not be motivated. It's difficult to keep them up front, like keep them up, उनको मोटिवेटेड रखना कि पढ़ते रहना है, वो थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट हो जाएगा. तो उसको कैसे ओवरकम करेंगे आप? व्हाट इज़ योर प्लान फॉर इट? there is a lot of things, and depending on different child, you're going to face challenges which I've never heard of. So I speak so much, मैं इतना बोलती हूँ पेरेंटिंग के बारे में, but every day even I am faced with a new challenge. Like I know I can overcome this, but कोई अलग ही type का challenge आ जाता है. So how are you going to overcome that? Okay, so balancing these roles as a parent and teacher is going to be a challenge. The fifth point, when you're homeschooling, it is frustrating. Trust me on that, because you have to take care of all the roles as a mother as well as a teacher. Now you have an extra responsibility of teaching and educating your child, and you have to also cover, especially if you're a devotee, you need to cover the spiritual studies, then their regular studies, then your household chores, the household duties, and so many things to balance. So are you ready for it? So these are the top 5 things I could think of. Top 5. There, I'm sure there are many more small this that challenges, but these are the top 5. And yeah, how can I forget the major one? Your family is going to take you for granted if you're homeschooling your children. अब नॉर्मल केस में होता क्या है, जब बच्चे स्कूल जाते हैं तो उनका सारा फैमिली प्लानिंग, जो पिकनिक्स होता है या गेट टुगेदर्स होते हैं, आउटिंग्स होते हैं, दे हैपन अराउंड द स्कूल स्केड्यूल. स्कूल के वेकेशन में आप प्लान करोगे. Now your kid does not have a school schedule or a vacation, ठीक है? So you will often hear people telling you like तुम तो कभी भी आ सकते हो, तुम्हारा कौन सा स्कूल है, एंड कम नाउ ना. मतलब अगर दादी नानी साथ में नहीं रहती है तो they'll keep calling you. और get togethers के time nobody takes you seriously basically. So that is one social challenge that you face, okay? And of course the emotional bombarding that keeps happening. अच्छा आपके बच्चे को ये आता है, you are somehow pulled. आप खिंच जाते हो, आप नहीं भी सोचो ना तो भी आप खिंच जाते हो एक ऐसे कंपटीशन में कि आपको दूसरों बच्चों से अपने बच्चे को आगे रखना है. सो दैट शुड नॉट बी दी एजेंडा. क्योंकि आप होम स्कूल कर रहे हो, अभी आप एक स्क्रूटिनिटी में हो, आपको ना लोग अभी देख रहे हैं आपका बच्चा कैसे बिहेव करना है और आपसे कोई गलती नहीं हो सकती है. That kind of pressure you start taking, and that frustrates you as a parent, as a homeschooling parent. So you have to be very very thorough, very very firm in your goal, what you want to achieve. It's not that अगर बच्चा homeschooling कर रहा है तो उसको मुझे 12 साल में PhD बनाना है. That should not be your agenda, okay? If you have this agenda, then please send your children to school instead of homeschooling. If the child is naturally able to do that, well and good. I'm not against it. But it does not mean that you force your kid to do it, okay? Don't force them to different things. Let your, बहुत लोग ये बोलते हैं कि बच्चे मिट्टी की तरह होते हैं, हमको उनको जैसे चाहिए वैसे मोल्ड करना. दैट इज़ रॉन्ग, ओके? दैट इज़ नॉट राइट. बच्चे एक्चुअली कुछ है, इट्स लाइक एन अनकवर्ड, एक डस्टेड, बोलते हैं ना. एक बार मैंने स्कल्पटिंग की क्लास ली थी और हमको एक पीस ऑफ स्टोन दिया गया था, ठीक है? So this stone is like marble, okay? And if when you sculpt it, जब आप carving करते जा रहे हो, of course मूर्ति आप अपने हिसाब से बनाओगे, ठीक है? अपने हिसाब से, but वो stone के क्वालिटी पे डिपेंड करेगा कि आप उस पर बना क्या पाओगे, राइट? आप एक ग्रेनाइट को मार्बल का काम और मार्बल से ग्रेनाइट का काम नहीं करवा सकते हो. इट इज़ नॉट गोइंग टू बी feasible, it will not be nice, okay? एंड वो उनका नेचर आप चेंज नहीं कर सकते हो, आप उसको वो नहीं ढाल सकते हो. हाँ, बट उसको कार्व करके, उसका जो नेचुरल क्वालिटीज़ है उसको कार्व करके आप एक बहुत सुंदर मूर्त डेफिनेटली बना सकते हो. तो व्हेन यू स्कल्प्ट लाइक दिस, व्हेन यू कार्व, और जब उसको पॉलिश करते हैं ना तो तब उसका एक्चुअल कलर पता चलता है. तब तक वो पत्थर तो ग्रे ही लगता है, बट जब उसको पॉलिश करके, उसको वैक्स करके सब हो जाता है, उसको अच्छे से सॉ करके, वॉश करके, तो उसका एक्चुअल कलर बाहर आता है. तो दैट इज़ व्हाट पेरेंटिंग इज़. इट्स नॉट अबाउट गीली मिट्टी को मोल्ड करके जो चाहिए वो बनाना है. नो, इट्स नॉट लाइक दैट. इट्स अनकवरिंग देम, इट्स ओपनिंग देम, इट्स फाइंडिंग हु दे आर, एंड वो हमको उनको भी हेल्प करना है. एंड इन दैट जर्नी वी ऑल्सो फाइंड आवर ओन सेल्व्स, राइट? So there is a lot of aspects, lot of challenges that you face as an homeschooler. So depending on all these things, we can decide whether to homeschool my child or not. Regular schooling के भी challenges होते हैं, and I don't need to list them because it's different for everybody. Your child will learn different habits from different kind of peers. That's okay, okay? So that's all for this video. We'll talk more about it. We'll talk more about different aspects. If you have any questions, please write. If you like this video, then like the video. And if you think it will be of value to somebody, अगर आपको लगे कि ये वीडियो किसी के काम आ रहा है, तो please share it with everybody. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.